trying to lose weight, focus on what it means to lose the weight. I used to not eat shit. I would snack morning to night and I'll tell myself, oh, I'm full. No, I'm lacking nutrition to get some air, to get some sunlight, and to move my body. Hey, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. Today, guys, I'm going to be talking about how I lost almost or over 30 pounds in the last 3 months after consistently going to the gym, or after starting my gym journey almost 6 months ago. I'm going to try and be more transparent because it wasn't just about the weight or the consistency or going to the gym. I'm going to be showing you, or I'm going to be telling you how I went from this to this in about 3 months with actual consistency, actual discipline and structure. And it was not just about the weight. Yes, the physical aspect definitely showed off more, but a lot of mental and mindset work really went into my overall change in how I got to this stage. The physical, yes, amazing. But the mindset that came from seeing the transformation, came from the discipline, came from the structure, is really what's gonna sell you on this. I'm gonna be honest when I say this is not my first fitness journey. I have consistently over the years started and stopped different times in my life. You know, there's a do this, work out, eat more, drink a lot of water, make 10,000 steps, be consistent. All of that really matters. But what really changed things for me, and I feel like this is the hidden secret behind not just losing weight or being consistent, it goes more into the mindset discipline aspect of it. And when I was able to shift my mindset, my identity, my discipline into the version of myself that already had a good body, was consistent, her habits were clean, she ate healthy, she took, I don't want to say 10,000 steps, but she was on it. That is when I really started to see the change. That's when it really started to come into person. That's when the last 3 months really started to show. So in this video, I want to talk about what I really did. And most importantly, I want to talk about what made it stick. The first part of this was really asking myself, why am I doing this? I was never overweight. I never had a bad body. I was still perfectly healthy and fit in my perception of my body at the time. But what thing that really got me on this journey was trying to fix my gut health. And I feel like we can all relate to this. The feeling of just having a piece of candy or water and I feel like I just ate a whole cow. That was my main purpose of trying to really turn around my whole journey, was trying to fix my gut health. So in asking myself why I'm doing this and how bad I want it, I came to the realization that I'm doing it for my gut, and I want it so bad that I can drink and eat water, that I'm not going to a restaurant and only able to have 3 bites of a very beautiful meal just because I'm already full. So some of the things I really started doing, I started moving more consistently. And I know we hear this all the time, move your body, exercise, go out. But I feel like the way it's portrayed online and the way the whole fitness aspect of it is, you need to be on the treadmill for 30 minutes. You need to be taking 10,000 steps a day. You need to be walking. You need to be doing the stairs. And I currently don't have the stairs in my structure. I'm not on the Stairmaster. I'm definitely more active, but I'm not hitting 10K steps every single day. There are ways to move around it. And when you start to find ways that make it more sustainable to you, that make it something that you can actually keep up with instead of following a whole strict regime, it makes it easier to keep moving. So some of the things I currently do, if I'm not able to go to the gym that day or that week, I take out a week and I go out for a walk. Genuinely, I'm not jogging, I'm not running. I don't have any really set destination or any pace or any kilometers or how long. I'm just going outside to get some air, to get some sunlight, and to move my body. And that time frame that I take to move my body on the weekends is so beautiful to me, because I used to be somebody that hated walking. Don't get me to walk across the street. And so being able to actively move like that without the pressure of trying to get 10,000 steps, get to a certain location, be out for 2 hours, like jogging, running, it was at my pace. It was for how long ever I wanted to be out, and it was for me. And this is a little trick secret that I'm gonna say. I would reward myself in the sense that at the end of my whole saga, like if I was to go 30 minutes that way, when I was coming back 30 back home, I would pick up something. I would get like tea, maybe stop by a cafe and get some like sweet or pastry, something that made it worth it to me. And so whenever I left and came back, I knew as I was leaving that my coming back was going to be rewarded. And so if I had abstained that whole week from anything sweet, anything sugary, anything that would potentially, I don't want to use the word fuck up, because technically yes, it could be bad for your diet. However, I believe it's mostly moderation. But anything that I haven't had or I've craved that week that I'm not supposed to normally have, that Saturday or that Sunday or whenever that day is that I did that walk, I would reward myself with that one thing that I've been craving all week. So with that mindset, I'm doing and being disciplined with the reward in mind that I'm going to get on Saturday. It could be wherever. It could be a croissant, it could be chai tea, it could be matcha. I personally love a good matcha. But the point being is that I reward myself to remind myself that if I do good, or if I'm able to keep to my routine, my schedule, my diet, my structure, even if I fall off one day, I can still do an exercise and feel rewarded. Moving from that reward section, I feel like the next thing that really, or what I really did to keep up with this, was when it came to my diet. And I could make a whole separate video in my, like on my channel, about like what I actually eat morning, afternoon, night, my snacks, my meal prep plan. Like it could be a whole separate video, which I probably should make. But when it really came to seeing that change, to seeing the drop, to seeing all of my weights and cardio and exercises really show, my dieting was one of the biggest parts of that growth. I've been joking. When I say one of the biggest parts, I mean one of the biggest parts. When we try to build consistency and we want to do all these things, we always somehow distinguish going to the gym from eating healthy, or keeping a stable habits, or keeping a stable eating habit to go into the gym. And I see a lot of people interchange between this. One is more heavily focused on the other is more heavily focused on. I believe, in what personally has worked for me in my journey, is that they both have equal balance between each other. And that's 50% exercising and 50% dieting. It will give you protein, it will give you fiber, it will give you energy, it will give you vitamin. Yes, you can be hitting the gym consistently. You could have a 5-day split. But if your gut habits, if you're dieting, if your whole foods is not locked down, it could still show. I believe that from experience, that all of my hard work, all of my consistency in the gym really scaled when I decided to incorporate actual clean whole foods. I took out so much from my diet right now, and it was hard at first. Obviously, these were things that I was just so used to, like, and I'm a snacker. If you're a snacker, let me know. I am a complete snacker. I used to not eat shit. I would snack morning to night, and I'll tell myself, oh, I'm full. No, I'm lacking nutrition. Because I was a heavy snacker, it was affecting my diet. It was affecting my progress. It was holding me back from receiving the actual nutrition and the supplements that I needed to continue and grow and fix my health. One of the last things that honestly ties the consistency in the dieting together is discipline. And this is where the mindset part comes in, because I worked on discipline, not just motivation. I worked on the plan and not just the mood, because motivation can come and go. I had motivation sporadically over the last how long it took me to get on my health journey. I had motivation to start. I had motivation to stop. I had motivation to do this and do that. I worked on discipline, not just motivation. Motivation goes and comes, but discipline builds structure. Discipline builds accountability. Discipline leads to consistency. Consistency leads to results. If you're not disciplined enough with your goals, if you're not disciplined enough in your dreams, if you're not making decisions, or if you're making decisions that you know that the version of you you're trying to become will not, you're not going to get to that version. And so the mindset part was really what pushed me. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't strict, but it worked. Back in October of 2025 is when I really started this journey, and December of 2025 is when I really locked in. And then March of 2026 is when I really started to see progress upon progress upon progress. And what happened between October and December was the fact that I hadn't locked down my mindset. I hadn't disciplined myself enough, and I was not consistent. Those three hindered me those 3 months. In those 3 months, I was slowing down my progress. I was taking it easy, trying to learn, but what I was doing was that I was delaying myself. I think about those 3 months sometimes, as opposed to where I am right now. I'm thinking about how if I had really locked in those 3 months, I probably would be way ahead of my journey that I am now. But I do also believe I needed just 3 months to be able to really evaluate what mattered to me and how to move forward in this progress. And then the next 3 months was when I really started to apply everything I've learned. And then there's now. So honestly, what I did was I needed to learn what worked for me and needed to execute it the way it worked for me. Not through what everybody else on social media was telling you, how many reps or weights or 10,000 steps, cardio stats. No, I learned what worked for me and executed it. Granted, it does not need to take you 3 months. However, it goes at your own pace. And this was just my pace. Going off that is the real value. This is actually what made the change. Because I stopped trying to do and use and be everything all of the influencers and the fitness gurus were telling me to do and be. I stopped trying to force myself to do the things that I wasn't comfortable doing. I remember I used to be on the stairs for about 30 minutes, even though I hated the stairs. I actually don't even do it right now. I plan to incorporate it, but what made me think I needed to be there on it for like 30 to 35 minutes when I first just got back in after years of being away from it? What I needed to do and what was the real truth about what changed my work is that I needed to find what worked for me. I needed to find my own structure. I set myself for success by reminding myself to go on my own terms, to build success the way I wanted success to be, to outline what my goals were and keep to it instead of following other people's goals for themselves. Because honestly, everybody's trying to do something different. Learn what works for you. Because when you believe it, when you follow your own structure, when you do things for yourself, and you stay on it, you prove to yourself that you're able to achieve these things, and then you just keep going. You just keep going, which is why you see a lot of people that start just trying to lose weight, obviously go back to like bulking or like fitness, and like really going crazy in it because they built enough faith and confidence in what they were doing. So now that we know what I did personally, here are 4 things I really want you to take away from this video that will more than certainly change the way you see your weight, your body, your journey, and get you to the goals, the person, and the identity you're trying to be. The first part of the real value is to change your mindset. When you change your mindset, your identity starts to shift to the mindset of the person you're trying to become. Second, I have Focus on discipline, not motivation, because motivation comes and goes. We already talked about this. I would start and I would stop. I would start and I would stop. The motivation was never lacking. However, when the going got hard, or something like that, when it was too difficult, when I was too tired, when I fallen off for too long, I would just, because the motivation had left me, and I would be like, oh, well, I've already given up so much. Like, I already stopped so much. Let me just, like, stop. No. That kind of is the time you need to double down. That's when you need to really be like, actually, no. This is when I always think about follow the mood, follow the plan, not the mood. Because the plan is the discipline, the plan is the structure. The mood is just motivation. The mood is just now. It's not anything to really go off. The mood is just not it. The most important thing about discipline that I feel like really got me stuck on my journey was that realizing once you start to build that discipline, once you start to get that structure, once you get consistent with your work, it starts to bleed into other aspects of your life. And that's kind of the most beautiful part, because once that discipline starts to bleed into other aspects of your life, it starts to build structures to keep myself accountable to my goals, to my dreams, to the dream body that I was trying to get to, and I'm still trying to get to, because honestly, the growth just keeps on going. There's never an end to it. You just keep going. And for me, in the earlier stages, I remember discipline was not constantly checking the scale. Like, I would get out of a 35, 40-minute workout and I would get on the scale expecting to drop like 5 pounds. I'm like, oh yeah, that was a good workout. I'm just gonna see how many you drop. And it's barely moved the scale. I'm like, oh, well, maybe I didn't do that right. No. Honestly, getting on the scale is now in the stage I am after losing the other pounds, of course, but it's the least of my concerns because I can physically already see the changes in my body. I can physically already see the progress. I don't need to step on the scale every single time. Checking it so early and checking it so frequently will really diminish you. And I remember that was one of the biggest things that failed my motivation in the beginning. You know, and this is a fulfilling like thoughts that really get you, like really makes it hard for you to keep going. So here's a challenge actually. If you're going to get consistent, it's never too late. This is something for you, especially if you're starting a fitness journey, you're still on it, you're consistently on it. I want you to not check the scale for about 2 weeks straight. If you're trying to do a challenge, check it at the beginning of the week. Let's say you start on the 1st. Check it the 1st, write it down, and then do not check it again until the 16th or the 15th. If you have not lost weight, and I don't mean if you haven't lost 10 to 15 pounds those 2 weeks, that's not realistic, that's not healthy. The goal here is to see if at the end of that time frame you haven't dropped anything, then that means that you're not doing something wrong, but you need to do more. And if you have, you know what exactly is doing well, you need to double down on that. Think about doubling down on that. As opposed to you checked it 1 week and it was only 2 down. That's not enough motivation. But if you check it in 2 weeks and it's like 3 to 4 down, then I feel all motivation. The third thing is that I build systems and routines that set me up for success instead of just relying on willpower. And what do I mean by this? Very simply, and this might be the most uncomplicated thing ever, but I prep my day, my night for my next day. So let's say I have work tomorrow. I have what I'm going to wear to work tomorrow. I have my meal prep for tomorrow. I have my gym shoes packed. I have my gym clothes packed. I do all of this the night before, so I'm not stuck rushing the morning of trying to pack my gym clothes, find what to wear. Like that, it ultimately stops me from being able to do the things I want to do, being able to be on time and stay productive. It has been such a leap setting my night up or setting my day up the night before. Honestly, it saves me so much time. It gets me so ready. it literally is my secret hack. You have no excuse if you can show up tomorrow, tonight. And the final thing that I would love for you to take away from this is one of the most important things that really helps me stay in check is take it easy. Do I say that again? Take it easy. Breathe. You are allowed to rest, to breathe. But it's also up to you to take accountability, because yes, you can miss a day. Yes, you can have a cookie. However, but I believe the key is everything in moderation. Everything in a way that you know it is still aligned with your goals. You're still aligned with the person you're trying to be or the woman you are trying to create. Yes, you're allowed to have a cheat day. However, do not let one cheat day become one cheat week, one cheat month. And this was where I usually lost it, because I thought I had to go. And then the time I was burnt out, exhausted, I would take a cheat day, I would take a cheat week. And it would spiral to 2, 3, 4 weeks, a month, 2 months, years. Actual years that I haven't been back in the gym. Learn moderation, learn to control, learn where to give your energy. Also remain accountable. It might sound hard, but it's not really that hard. When you find a structure and a system that works for you, scale with it. In the end, losing weight for me wasn't just about getting smaller. I mean, in the beginning, it was definitely about trying to cure this or look like this by a certain time frame. However, as I continued on my journey, it wasn't about getting smaller or looking toned. It was more about proving to myself that I could actually, in building the discipline and structures that bled into other aspects of my life, just from this one small thing that I thought needed to change. It was showing up every day and doing the things that I thought were so hard, the things that I thought were unbelievable. It's exactly proving to myself that I could always have done this. I just needed to apply myself. I just needed to find what worked for me. And eventually, when I found a structure, when I found a system that was tailored to me, I ran with it. It became second nature. Now I get off work and I'm straight to the gym. I don't even need to think about it. Now, at night, I'm already packing all my clothes to be able to go to the gym tomorrow. Now, at the ending of the week on Sundays, or the beginning of the week on Sundays, I'm meal prepping for the rest of the week, so I don't have to have the ability or have the craving to go out or eat out and buy things that are so unnecessary. I've built a system so strong and so tailored to me, my personality, my mindset, my growth, my goals, that it's become such second nature that it feels like it's mine. Like they're my habits, they're my mindset, it's my identity now. I have pivoted so much that I know if I can do it, you can definitely do it. I know that if I can stay with this shit, you can definitely stay with this shit too. So if you're going to change your life, change your habits, change the type of personality or identity you want to be, don't focus on what you're doing wrong, or don't just focus on what you're doing. Focus on how you see yourself doing it. Don't just focus on trying to lose weight. Focus on what it means to lose the weight. Focus on how it could take or what it would feel like to lose the weight. To be perfect, you just have to show up and keep going. Remember to do things in your own pace, on your own structure, and take your time. Take some time for yourself. And on that note, I want you to remember that you are abundant and you are beautiful and you are blessed. And if I can do it, you can definitely do it. So I'll see you next week.